Well, hey everyone, Rebecca here, the Dragon Librarian from Farmington Community Library, and I've got Arloth here today to talk to you about a couple really fantastic graphic novels that we've recently read, one of which actually I think is going to be one of my favorite ones that I've read this year because it's so fantastic. So what are these graphic novels that I'm talking about? Well, the first one I really liked is called Stepping Stones by Lucy Knisley. Knisley. I'm not sure how that's pronounced, but it's called Stepping Stones. So I was interested in reading this one because it was getting a whole lot of attention online. It was getting a lot of really great reviews and people were talking about it. So I thought, well, I better read it and see what is going on with this. And after I did, I found that it was really, really fantastic. There were a couple things about it that I didn't like, but overall, I really, really enjoyed this. So what is this story about? This is a story about a young girl named Jen who is used to living with her mom and dad in the city. Unfortunately, her parents have gotten a divorce. So because of this, her mom and Jen are moving out to this farm with their mom's new boyfriend. And basically, they are starting to try to run a farm together. Now, that is a big enough change as it is, right? That's a lot going on for a young girl. But on top of that, the boyfriend has two daughters that come up every weekend as well. So not only is Jen having to deal with the fact that she is living in a completely different environment, right? So she's living in now like a farm where she is not a country girl at all. She's a city girl. And on top of that, she's dealing with a new boyfriend from her mom and two new stepsisters. That is an awful, awful, awful lot to deal with. So there's all kinds of different things that Jen is learning to do on the farm, which is what I really, really enjoyed reading about. So they start to raise chickens, so they get all these little eggs to hatch into little baby chicks, and it's Jen's job to take care of them. They also have this farm stand on the weekends that Jen has to help run, which is what this picture is right here, and her getting to the responsibility of writing the prices on the board and designing the board and everything like that. And basically just other things like catching frogs and climbing trees and all this really cool, amazing stuff. I didn't grow up on a farm, but I definitely was outside a lot when I was a kid. So it was really, really, really awesome to be able to watch Jen learn to experience and grow to love the outdoors. But obviously, like you can probably tell, there is a lot going on with this book, right? So there's a lot dealing with her separation from now everything she's known and loved, right? Her home, and to be in a completely new place, and not only a new place, but a place that is completely different than where she lived before. And then also dealing with the stepsisters in this and learning how to have relationships with them. The thing I didn't like about this is the stepfather, or the mom's boyfriend rather, really got on my nerves. He is really condescending and kind of a jerk, and the author alludes to in the author's notes in the back that her actual stepdad was very much like this, which made me feel kind of bad for her because he drove me crazy throughout this. He was kind of a jerk. But it was really great watching her develop these relationships with her stepsisters and really even strengthen the relationship with her mom as well. And I really enjoyed the illustrations. They were very simple. They were pretty. And the story was really fun to follow, and it was very emotionally charged. So then each chapter shows like a bit of Jen's journal and all the things that she's drawing in it. But there's a lot of emotion in this story as well, and it was demonstrated really, really well in this graphic novel. So if you're looking for a really cool graphic novel that's got a great story with a lot of substance to it, Stepping Stones. Now, this next graphic novel is the one that I was saying I think is going to be my favorite of the year so far, or one of them anyway. And I grabbed it on a whim. I did not expect to like it as much as I did, but I absolutely loved it, and I'm going to be recommending it to everybody from now on. So what is this? Well, this is called The Secret Garden on 81st Street by Noelle Weir. Now, what is so cool about this? So many things. So the first thing is, you may or may not know, this is a retelling of the classic book, The Secret Garden. So I really, really am all about modern retellings of classic stories. Number one, I think that they're fantastic to get new people interested in these stories with, with updated, characters and settings and everything. And I also really love that it's in graphic novel form, because that's going to reach out to a bigger audience than just a normal book would, right? Because a lot of people love graphic novels. Not that a lot of people don't love regular books too, but graphic novels are wonderful, especially if you are interested in this story but don't really feel like diving into the entire book, right? So this is The Secret Garden on 81st Street. Now, if you're not familiar with the original Secret Garden story, it is about a young girl named Mary Lennox whose parents have both died. They're living in India, and she gets transported to her uncle, who she's never met, who lives in England, which it's very like different world, right? So you've got hot, sunny climate in India versus dreary, cold, rainy, cloudy England. So she's living on this big estate, and she basically discovers that she not only has this cousin that she never knew about who is ill, who she befriends, but also there is this secret garden on the estate that the uncle has a lot of attachment to, but has long since died. The garden has just gone crazy and nobody takes care of it. Mary sneaks into the garden, begins to revive it along with her cousin and friend Dickon, and it is just a beautiful story about the power of not only friendship, but also of the outside world and nature being able to heal people. So that is a very broad statement of what the original one is about. So this one is a very similar story, only set in a contemporary setting. So in this story, Mary Lennox lives with her parents in Silicon Valley in California. And they both die. She gets taken to her uncle in New York City, who are living in this, basically this big building in New York City. Same kind of story. There is a garden on the roof that her uncle used to care for, quite a big deal. But he doesn't anymore because his husband had passed away, and he was the one that really took care of the garden, and because of that, it is too much sadness. So Mary discovers this garden, revives it, and also revives her uncle as well as meeting her little cousin who is sick. Now, a couple things about this that are what I really love. So the first thing is the cousin, instead of being ill with like respiratory diseases and stuff like in the original story, he has really, really bad anxiety, suffers from panic attacks and things like that. This, I think, was such a genius move on the author's part, because this is something that I think a lot of young people, I know myself, deal with, is anxiety. So watching this young cousin deal with the anxiety and learn to manage it was such a beautiful transformation. I loved it so much. The other thing I really liked about this book is also a love letter to New York City. So Mary Lennox discovers the joy of the city. She goes to museums. She goes to Central Park. She meets all the people in the neighborhood, grocery stores. It makes all these new friends. It is such a beautiful, beautiful story of her finding a home in this brand new place. I happen to really, really love New York City, so I enjoyed that. But even if you don't even know about New York City or have never been there, I think there is a lot to love here, and you will fall in love with the city just because of that. And I really like the illustrations in this one as well. They're very cute, they're simple, they're sweet, they're colorful. It's a beautiful, beautiful story. I love this so much. If you are new to The Secret Garden, have never read it before, there's a lot here to love. If you're a fan of it and you've loved it, you will love this as well. I guarantee it. It is so fantastic. Sometimes you can worry about, when they adapt things and how true they are to the original, and this is the same feel, but just so much more beautiful. I loved it to pieces. The Secret Garden on 81st Street. Well, that's what we've got for you guys today. I hope that these books sound really interesting and fun, and you'll want to check them out. If so, please feel free to do so at the Farmington Community Library, and you feel free to also please give this video a like. Thank you so much for watching, friends, and have a wonderful rest of the day.